Dan, the same thing I asked you. How frustrating was it with Obina tonight, just not being able to take advantage of him?
I don't look at one person frustrated. It's got to be a group. I was frustrated that we came out soft, and I've got to find a way to make sure that making good plays does not qualify playing good. What qualifies playing good is you played as hard as you can play and made good plays and smart. You got to be smart. Right now, we're not exhibiting those. We'll make good plays and things like that look good, but we're not winning games that you have to do, and that is by playing hard and smart. We had 3 or 4 opportunities this game to win this game. It's a team that took Ohio State and really had them beat. Between coming out not ready to play and then not making big plays down the stretch, we've got, and that's twice. We did that against Campbell. We did here, really, we did it against Indiana, where we had moments, or at least 5 minutes in there, that we're not getting the job done. We've got to try to eliminate that to be a good team.
And there were several possessions there where they got 3 shots at it. If you don't foul when they got a 3-point lead, almost everything that could go wrong did go wrong down the stretch. Is that because of what Akron did or because of what you guys didn't do?
No, it's what they did and what we didn't. My point being is you can't do that. You can't get out fault for the ball. You got to give them credit, but at the same time, you can't let that happen. So, we missed 2 one-on-ones right at the end. We, like you said, gave them up about 3 rebounds, efforts down there. We walked when you could have just held on to the ball. We didn't have to go fast, just hang on the ball. So we're making some mental mistakes. Tucson has got to learn to get his head to where he runs what we do and then plays from that. He sometimes wanders around and we get started on a play all messed up because he's not in the right spot. And then what starts bad ends bad. And we've got to make sure that they lock in mentally and come ready to play. That's number one. We gave them a 11-point lead just because we weren't ready to play. And I got to figure out, the biggest thing is figuring out, okay, who are the guys that are going to really come in and play every night? And then go with those guys. And I think we got to go to the ball club. They're athletic. They can play. They're skilled. We just got to find that combination to win ball games.
Dan, David hits a 3 with about 40 seconds to go, and you all have been trying to get over the hump and things like that. Do you feel like the team relaxed after that 3 because Akron got the and one putback and things like that? It just seemed like mentally what you had done defensively in the second half went by the wayside after that 3.
Now, I'm doing this without a film, but I think I'm right. David hits a 3, right? We go down and hold him. We get the ball. David gets it and walks and gives it back. And then that's when they got the extra point. Is that correct? I think that's right. Well, you know what? He doesn't walk. He just hangs on the ball. Then that's over. Bottom line. You can't make that kind of mistake. And that's not calling David out. I think he played good. And he's showing some good signs. But if you're going to win, you got to play great, especially away from home. And a good team. It's a good team. You can't make that mistake. And, he'll learn from it. But at the same time, while he's learning, we got to take an L. And that's not fun. So we had a long talk, a lot longer talk at halftime, a little more vigor and halftime talk. We had a long talk after the game. So, you know what? It's a long season. Don't get me wrong. I've been here 1,000 times with 1,000 different teams. Some people want to throw stones. Go ahead. Hey, we're going to be there. Come on with us. You come right with us. Throw stone now. Come join us later. I don't, whatever. But we're going to fight hard and play hard. I thought Tavion had an outstanding game. Andy, outside of one-on-one miss and a foul that he can't do, had a great game. So we got 2 good guards. We just get a few people playing hard with them, and I think we'll be in good shape.
You mentioned Andy, and especially for him, he had waited for this type of breakout game, and then the sequence at the end and the frustration level with that, it was obvious from him. How do you all keep him up and keep him in that rhythm that he got early in this game?
Who, Tavion?
No, Andy, where he was
Oh,
into a
Andy.
rhythm and knocking down
Well,
shots.
you
And
know, just that we're with him. You know, he knows, and I will tell him again. I showed a little bit of disappointment about the foul, but you know what? We lost the game. We came out the way we came out. Can't do that. Like I say, one play is never the deciding factor, even though when you do it at a time you can't recover, it's pretty tough. We can't do that one. But other than that, the missed free throw or something like that, there's a lot of mitigating circumstances that makes you win or lose a game. You can lose a game in the first 5 minutes as easy as you can in the last 5. And we just, you know, people who are big and tall can't play without a rebound. Can't play without them feeling your body if you're big. So we're just, you know, like I said, I've been doing this a long time, and I've seen teams like this that are this close turn into big winners. So we just got to keep pushing forward and see what happens.
Coach Tavion told us a little bit about what you talked about with the players in the locker room. Do you kind of hope that, like, they call like a players only meeting? Like, how do you try to invigorate the leadership in the room when the team's on a little bit of a struggle?
You know, I've always preached for years, and I tell them here before, this is their team. They have to take control. They understand that this is mostly a player's game. There are parts coaches can play, but the biggest part is done by players. And they have to take ownership of their practice. They're getting readiness. Tavion does a super job as a leader. You see it tonight, his will to win. He was tremendous. And his will to win, I could feel it. I don't know about what you felt over the cameras, but here on the court, you could see that he was determined to win. We got to get that in all of them with that same fire and desire, and he will be a big factor in that. That's up to him, and the guys will follow, and I think they will. I really do. I think what we got to do to help for him is to get the right people for him to put that fire into. And, you know, when you start the season, you think you got 12 deep. I've been doing this again for a long time, and it always comes down. It'll come down to 7 or 8. You can find 7 or 8 good ones. That's who you're going with.
Coach, you have a tough stretch of games coming up, and I know you always say one game,
I like the way you smile all the time. I appreciate that. Makes me feel better.
You know what? I love to smile. I'm just here to brighten
Well, good.
the day.
No, hey, listen, I appreciate that because, you know, as much as I can, you lose games like this, you have a tendency not to want to smile. But
Yeah.
You know what? You
I
got
hope
to
it's
keep going,
contagious.
and things will turn around.
Well,
Go ahead.
good,
What do
good.
you got?
Well, you have a tough stretch of games coming up, and I know you say that one game doesn't impact the next, but what are you guys going to focus on, you know, to prepare for Saturday?
Well, I think we left it, the coaches left it in the locker room at halftime and after the game. If they don't get that, then we got the wrong guys. Because I wasn't too happy either time, halftime or at the end of the game. So, you know, they'll feed off me, you know, but mostly they'll feed off themselves, and they just know that they just got to feel that. I don't know how to explain it if you haven't played in this type of competition. You just have that confidence and that toughness, and it exudes, and those are championship teams. And it takes a lot of things. It takes our whole organization, administration, school involvement. Great teams come from areas that demand greatness, not even demand it. Support greatness, I think, is a better word. Because if you demand greatness, you're one of those that just throw stones. You don't understand what it is to support the greatness. And that's what comes out of support, is good, positive, hard support that stays determined, and greatness comes from that. People who